Bruce Dickinson, you are 65 years old and you still sound absolutely incredible. What's going on, guys? My name's Isaac, and today we are checking out Bruce Dickinson's solo album entitled The Mandrake Project. This is his seventh studio album, and if you are not already subscribed, guys, please hit the subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment. It really helps me out. Also, if you think anyone else would like this video, don't forget to share it. Let's get rocking. First off, I just wanted to say, wow, Bruce's voice sounds absolutely incredible on this album, guys. He sounds, look, he's 65 years old, like I said, right? He's 65. He sounds at least like, like he's still maybe like in his prime. Like, wow, he's absolutely incredible. Of course, Bruce Dickinson already has this naturally awesome and very distinct voice. Nobody sounds like him at all. When you hear him, like, you can tell this is Bruce Dickinson, right? The singer of Iron Maiden, if you didn't already know. Yes, I mean, that's what he's most known for, his lead vocal parts. He just simply is the lead singer for Iron Maiden. But he has made his own solo albums. He does his own solo projects. He seems to me like the guy who just likes to do everything. I mean, he's a pilot, right? I mean, if he's in a rock band, a heavy metal band, and he's a pilot, like, I think this says a lot about him. I think he just likes to be active. Seems like the kind of guy who likes to be musically active. This album, called The Mandrake Project, was released March 1st of 2024. Like I said, this is his seventh studio album. And, he's, like I'm saying, he sounds awesome. He sounds awesome for his age at 65, but he sounds better than he did on Iron Maiden's Senjutsu album, which was released September 3rd of 2024. So that's kind of strange to me, but I started thinking, hey, in Senjutsu and in a lot of the last maybe like 3 Iron Maiden albums, he's still singing in that higher register, just like he did when he was young, right? When he was in his 30s and in the early Iron Maiden albums that he was a part of. He still sings in that high register, but it sounds like he's really straining his voice. And here, it sounds like he's singing in the lower register. You can tell he's singing a lot more comfortable. You have to really compare those albums to how he's singing here. He's also not singing these super long melodic phrases. Like, yeah, he has like long vocal lines, but it's not like he's holding a note for a super long time like he does in Iron Maiden very often. And, I'm glad that he's doing something that, it sounds a lot more comfortable to him. And it's really pleasant to listen to, because really he does have a nice warm voice when he's not singing those super high notes like an Iron Maiden. And other positive, guys, just besides the sound of his awesome voice on this album, it's just the overall production of the album, the guitars, the bass, the drums, and even the piano, like in a couple of tracks here, sounds absolutely incredible. The guitars are really full. They have a really full sound. So does the bass. The bass, of course, isn't like Steve Harris playing. The drums isn't like Nico. The guitars aren't like Dave, Adrian, and Janik Gers, right? They're not like that. So I'm going to get to that kind of in a little bit. But, everything sounds awesome. It sounds modern. It sounds fresh. Just the sound of it. It's a very, very fresh sound. But, don't think that the songwriting is like Iron Maiden, okay? Because it's not. It's quite different. So if you give this album a chance, and if you've heard this album, don't really compare it to Iron Maiden. It's still very much its own thing. A couple of songs that I think really have this full sound that I was talking about are like Afterglow of Ragnarok and also Mistress of Mercy. Now, I think let's go ahead and talk about some of the negatives. And, unfortunately, I do think that this is the most important overall, and that's just, it's the songwriting. Now, look, if you're a fan of Iron Maiden, you think, hey, Iron Maiden's awesome. And as I am, right, I'm a big fan of them. They're awesome. Their songwriting's awesome. The riff's awesome. It's just like the singing is. Like, the guitar riffs are awesome, like the singing, the bass, the drums. The vocal lines here, I think, are really good. I think, like, his vocal melodies are awesome. They're great. They sound very Bruce Dickinson-esque, if I could say it like that. But, the guitars, they're really simple. So is the bass overall, and so are the drum beats, so are the patterns. Nothing really flashy in any of the instruments, honestly. And I feel like that could have been done on purpose. I feel like maybe they were thinking, hey, let's back off, let's not, play anything too technical, too complicated, too flashy, so that way Bruce's voice can shine, which it does. But Bruce's voice already shines. His voice is distinct. His vocal lines are always cool. So it's not that his ideas, I feel like, for singing weren't good. It's just because I actually do think they were really good. But the instrumental ideas should support it better, right? Like I said, I think that was intended, but maybe it backfired. Like, hey, add some more riffs, add some more, different types of drum fills, make the bass more interesting. Also, like, every song seemed to sound the same in terms of like, hey, like change the tone of the guitars more, which they did. There was some songs that had like less gain, some songs that use a little bit, different effects. Like I'm saying, a couple of them had piano, but really I feel like there just wasn't so much rhythmic diversity just because of how simple some of the riffs were. And a lot of the, let's say he's singing, the guitar parts really just followed him with, basic chord progressions. Like, hey, I want to hear something like rhythmically different behind the scene, right? Or at least with the bass. And what I think was really underwhelming with basically all the songs except the song, let me see, I'm trying to think of it right now. Oh, yes, Resurrection Man. Resurrection Man was a song that I personally thought was cool. Another one was also, another song I thought was cool was Mistress of Mercy. But overall, like, the build up to the chorus always felt underwhelming to me. And I don't feel like it was a lack of crescendos. I don't think it was a lack of like anything like that. But it was just simply like the instrumental build-ups, The singing was on point, and I know this is his studio album, but still, like, I feel like, hey, do a little bit more with the instruments to really bring out his voice. I know I'm kind of rambling about that, but it's something that I think people need to see that is really important, because it's not just one thing that makes a song, right? He could have an awesome voice, the vocal line's great, but everything needs to come in and tie in together. I think, like, overall, guys, to be honest, like I'm saying, the production's awesome. Give this album a chance. It sounds great, but also like because the guitars sound cool, they're full, the drums are really thick, they're full, they sound alive, the bass too. But it gets old. It seems like it gets old, like for sure, like halfway through the album. Like, hey, I want some more tonal differences. Like, hey, you have this cool sound, but change it up maybe a little bit more. Give us a little bit more rhythmic variety, a little more tonal variety. Okay, and I feel like this album just kind of lacked in those aspects to really help the vocal line shine and just to help everything shine in general. And with that being said, I do think I'm going to give this album a 6 out of 10. Starting to come up with a rating, guys, now that I'm getting more familiar with the album review process. Yeah, I think a 6. I mean, it's average, but the reason why it gets a 6 instead of a 5 to me is because, hey, Bruce's voice is cool. The vocal lines are cool, but there's just some things in the songwriting, in the structure of the songs, and the structure of the instruments that I think could have been done a little bit differently to maybe make this album, at least like a 7.5. I do hope to hopefully hear more of Bruce Dickinson's like solo work in the future. I'd love to keep following up with his music from here on out, as well as Iron Maiden. I hope he keeps up with Iron Maiden. Hope he keeps doing cool stuff just all around. I hope he stays active. Thanks, guys, for checking out this video, and I hope to see you all later.